There's Immortal Bliss taking out the Yarradale stud Ronsaz sprint. What a performance it was, Riley. Pre-race, we were a little bit concerned about the fact that they hadn't made a great deal of ground so far here in Kalgoorlie, but as Grant Williams said post-race, they've been walking some races out in front, and courtesy of a nice tempo, he was able to get the job done over the top of the mate.
What were we worried about, Lockie, at the end of the day? Come on, I mean, seriously, he put them away very impressively, didn't he? He had a bit on those Immortal Bliss, and some good comments from William Pike post-race as well, that he's not the finished product yet. He's still a relatively lightly raced horse. He's got his quirks, which they have had a bit of trouble trying to iron out at this stage of his career, but it is only his first preparation under the care of Grant Alana Williams, so they will know a lot more about him once he's had a break and they've tipped him out, and they likely bring him back in, and it seems like there might be some bigger races on the horizon for him moving forward.
And finally, the Golden Saddle is upon us, and hasn't the crowd absolutely turned out? It is heaving. Well, you just quickly strolled through the mountain, or just outside the mounting yard and towards the bookies ring, and you can barely move here at Kalgoorlie. It's great to see.
Certainly is, and why wouldn't they? The people of the Goldfields be turning up on a day like today. The weather's sort of turned it on for us now. It was a little bit murky early doors, but some beautiful conditions for racing now, and I think this has been such a terrific addition to Kalgoorlie Cup Day. I'm glad that they're running this race on this day as well, to complement the Cup, which has been an iconic time-honoured race of the region. And really, I was a bit worried early doors about how this race would, I guess, pan out, and the sort of a field that they would be able to establish here. But they've done a really good job with who they've been able to get for this race, and it's a cracking field. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and a little earlier on this afternoon, I had the pleasure of interviewing our Premier in Roger Cook on the importance of a race like the Golden Saddle to support the regional communities here in WA. Premier, the Goldfields has had such a proud racing tradition with the Cal Cup and now the Golden Saddle. How important do you see regional racing, especially race meetings like today, here at the KBRC in showcasing the best of WA?
Look, obviously these race events are an important part of the social calendar for these local communities, but they're an important, even bigger part of the local economy. Because of the Cal Cup, you've seen the hotels, the pubs, the clubs, the cafes, everywhere in Kalgoorlie is full, and so that means more jobs for the locals. And regional racing has always played such an important role in supporting regional economies.
Of course, later today we'll see the first running of the Golden Saddle slot race, Australia's richest regional thoroughbred race. What do you think this kind of innovation means for racing in the regions in WA?
Well, it elevates the Cal Cup for starters. It takes it from a great day out to an incredible part of the regional racing calendar. And you can feel that vibe in the community here. Everyone's excited about it. And I'm so proud of the work that the local member, Ali Kent, has done with Bill Beamont and Eddie Riggs to bring this together. And my government is supporting it through a $1.5 million contribution over the next 3 years.
Not only does the round bring top-class racing, it brings visitors to town, underpins jobs and ultimately fosters community spirit. Yeah. From your perspective, what role does racing play in regional WA towns like Kalgoorlie?
Well, they're a focal point, aren't they? They're at that point where everyone comes together. You'll see today just about everyone in Kalgoorlie is out there in their frocks and their fascinators and their suits, dressed up like they never have over the rest of the year. So that's why it's such an exciting community event. So it's great for the community, it's great for the economy, and this is really just continuing to elevate the Kalgoorlie Cup as an important part of the overall statewide racing calendar.
We know how critical infrastructure is to the long-term future of racing. How important is it that we continue to invest in regional racecourses like Kalgoorlie and others to ensure they remain great venues for the community?
Yeah, well, you look at Kalgoorlie, it's a great case in point, isn't it? It's great, some great heritage buildings, but that all comes with the costs. And so that's why our regional racing support package is about continuing to provide funds and grants for regional racing clubs so they can keep their infrastructure fit for purpose, and that so their local communities can continue to celebrate.
Thanks for your time, Roger. Hopefully you back a winner today and enjoy the day.
We'll see how we go. Thanks very much.
There's our Premier, Roger Cook, with a word on how important a race like the Golden Saddle is. But The horses aren't too far off from joining us here in the mounting yard at Kalgoorlie, but Riley, what a field that has been assembled. Let's talk the speed. We might not get a chance a little later on prior to the running of this inaugural running of the $1 Million Golden Saddle. Talk us through the speed map and talk us through how this race might be run in the early stages of this race.
Well, there's no shortage of it, Locke, that's for sure. We've got plenty of speed engaged here. You've got horses like Bravo Centurion, who really only knows one way, and he's drawn pretty wide as well, so he's going to have to do a bit of work early to make his way across. We've got King Adviso, who's not the fastest of horses out of the barriers, but he's one that can really muster quickly. He's drawn barrier 1, so he wouldn't want to be half a step slow from that inside draw, as he could get crossed, and I think that'd be lights out for him if that was to be the case as well. And then a number of other runners that are likely to want to look for positions over the speed, likes like Snowdome, Final Siren. He's a similar sort of a horse from the machines to King Adviso, not the fastest out, but he can muster very quickly. And I think the fly in the ointment horse for Final Siren could be Red Can Man, who's got that freshness in the legs. We haven't seen him for quite some time now. He's a horse that can really come out aggressive and look for a spot as well, and he's drawn one position underneath Final Siren, so it could be a little bit tricky early for some of these horses to find their positions. And I know you spoke about it a bit earlier in our coverage today, Lockie, particularly regarding Snowdome and where he might end up, given there are a number of horses that are drawn underneath him who are going to be looking for the exact same spot.
Our favourite, Magnificent Andy, he's drawn barrier number 4. How do you see it playing out for him? Is there a world where Brad Parnham gets stuck in behind a bunch of tiring runners if they do go as hard as we expect them to in the first 600 of this race?
Oh, there's certainly a world where that could happen, Lockie, absolutely, and he's not always the most sure thing out of the barriers as well, Magnificent Andy, but if he does step like he has been, or at least last preparation, how he was stepping, I think Brad Parnham will be pretty keen to kick him out and give him a dig and try and hold a position in the first half of the field in running, maybe 2 or 3 pairs off the leading couple or leading 3, depending if there is a 3 wide line, which there definitely should be with the amount of speed engaged in this race. But if he gets the brakes, Lockie, when he needs them, I think he's going to be the one right there when the whips are cracking. And as we've spoken about already, he's the proven weight for age commodity in this race. There aren't many of them that have proven themselves under these conditions. He certainly has, and if he was to reproduce either of his previous 2 first up runs, he'd be winning this race. It's as simple as that for mine. And unfortunately, racing, it's never that easy or never that simple. But if that was the case and he got the right run that he needs, he's going to be very hard to beat, and he's very much a deserving favourite at the head of the market.
Is there an on-speed horse that you're keen on or looking forward to watching? Could it be like a mare like Twain's Angel, right place, right time behind a hot speed?
Certainly could be. I'm taking a little bit of a set against her, Lockie, and I might be being a little bit harsh on her, but I wasn't a huge fan of her trials leading into this preparation. I think she's trialled a lot better. Even though she won her most recent trial, she was really getting niggled along, and she just didn't let down like I thought she was going to, and put away her rivals, who were certainly inferior rivals to who she meets here today in that recent trial. She was the fresh winner of the Joey last preparation. I thought you could mount a case that Yonga Lass, with better luck, could have beaten her on that occasion, although she has drawn very wide again here once again. So I didn't think there was much between that pair, and that's potentially why I'm bumping up Yonga Lass a little bit in my numbers today as well. We've seen that it's not impossible to make ground with the right ride, the right man in the saddle as well in William Pike. I've loved her trials, Yonga Lass leading in, so I think if you're looking for one at each way odds, for me, she's the one.
Let's have a look at these runners in the yard ahead of the $1 million, the Develop Golden Saddle, and we'll start with our favourite, the one, Magnificent Andy for SJ Miller and Brad Parnham.
Well, he's the one for me, Lockie. I've made that very clear that he's the way I'm going in this race, Magnificent Andy. He's the proven weight for age galloper, and he's like a fine wine, this bloke. Every preparation he turns up, and he just seems to get better with age. He's won the Joey at 1200 metres first up 2 preparations ago, and last time he resumed, he ran 4th in a quokka earlier this year, beaten under a length by Joker's Grin, as we know. Headwall, who subsequently won a Concord over there in Sydney, and Generosity also racing well over there in Sydney with Overpass in behind them. A repeat of either of those performances would be good enough to win this, but as we made mention of, Locke, it's never that easy. He's a former Hannon's Handicap winner, so he's proven here at Kalgoorlie. Thought he looked in really good order in his trials without his race day blinkers leading into his return today, and he's drawn beautifully on paper in barrier 4. I was more than happy to be in his corner.
2 Red Can Man, the old boy, Steve Wolf, Sean McGrady.
Didn't come up last preparation, Red Can Man. He's been given a very lengthy spell, the 9-year-old. Haven't seen him for 294 days. Goes very well fresh, as we know. He's going to come out positive, and wouldn't surprise to see Sean McGrady really aggressive to look for a position over the speed. But at this stage of his career at Rising 9, he's been a marvel really over the course of it. I do think this might just be a bridge too far.
3-man crush, Luke Fernie, one of 4 runners from his stable, Holly Watson rides.
He's capable, but he's been disappointing this preparation, been well beaten in all of the feature races that he's found himself in. They tinker with a bit of gear with him here today. The blinkers replace the visors. He can race over the speed, has drawn a little bit tricky, but off his recent form, not for me.
For Snowdome, first up here today, trialled on Tuesday, Neville and Steve Parnham.
Thought he was back to his best in that trial as well, Lockie. That was Snowdome at his best, I think. That was a really impressive trial performance. He sat outside the lead, he cruised up to them and really put them away without ever really being asked for an effort by Brad Parnham. And the horse in second in that trial, Do I Feel Lucky, is a really promising type who's got some runs on the board in some nice races as well. The map's going to be the most interesting aspect of this race for him and where he finds himself in running, as there are a number of runners with early speed drawn underneath him who are going to be looking for similar spots. But if he was to get some luck early and a good steer from Stevie Parnham, find a position without having to do too much work, his best is right in this. 5 final siren, Rebecca Bayliss, Lucy Fiore. Well, he's got the race fitness edge as opposed to a number of these who are first up, and Lucy Fiore should just be able to get across into a nice enough spot. There is going to be a number of horses looking for that same spot, but Lucy Fiore for mine is the best in the state at assessing a race early and being able to find a position with her galloper. Not sure it's the right form, the Nicopolis Stakes. It was a good run. Rock'n'Nori did really rip past him over the concluding stages, and Rock'n'Nori didn't exactly frank that form in the Hannon's Handicap there on Thursday, so that has to be somewhat of a minor concern for mine, but he's getting better with age, this horse, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does measure up in this company. 6 Hanchy, Sean and Jake Casey, Chris Parnham. Posted a big figure in winning over the 1,000 metres last start in that Jolly Beggar. It was a deserving win as well. He'd raced largely without luck for much of the preparation. I thought the trial was elite leading into this. I thought it was a better trial than Twain's Angel, who goes around a lot shorter than he does in the market. Gets Chris Parnham on board, who sticks with him, and he's going to be cuddled up in behind the speed, and he's one that can really let rip with a big turn of foot late. He's a really good blowout chance. He is the speedster, the 7, Bravo Centurion, Luke Fernie, Braden Garth. To be honest, Locke, the trials have been terrible, so I don't know what to do with this bloke. He's going to come out and firing and looking for the front. There's no doubt about that. He knows one way. They tinker with a bit of gear with him, but I doubt he runs 1,200 metres, and the trials suggest that he's certainly not at his best. The 8 is Storm Chaser. He was well and truly in this market for this race prior to his last start performance in the Nicopolis. Can he bounce back to his best today for Luke Fernie and Pat Carberry? Well, they'll certainly be hoping so. He's got ability, this horse, but is he just a ratings horse? That's the question that I'm going to pose to him today, and how he can perform. He's dictated to by the barrier, there's no doubt about that. He's likely to end up back last in running, needing it all to go right, but at his best, it's very good. As we know, he won a 72 plus against the pattern a bit earlier this campaign, was beaten a couple of lengths by Love and War, who's a group quality mare, and ran third in the Newmarket 2 starts ago behind Fanta, and was one of the best closers of that race. So we know he can do it, but he just needs to elevate to be measuring up in this company. 9 King Adviso, he's been in wonderful form this campaign, but he'll need to elevate. Chris and Michael Gangemi, Jordan Turner. Certainly will. He's been a different horse this campaign. He's flying for Chris Gangemi and Michael Gangemi, who have got this bloke humming. Just think he might be a rung below these, but from barrier 1, if he can kick through and find the front, in the form that he is in, I think he's going to be suited to racing here at Kalgoorlie, and he can certainly give a bit of cheek. 10 Twain's Angel, first up on the second line of betting at $5.50 for Sean and Jake Casey and Matty Derrick. Well, she's the map horse here, parked right on the hammer of the speed from where she's drawn. She was able to win the Joey first up last preparation, but would have carried some residual fitness leading into that run as well, and has been given a longer spell getting back to the races here today. She's a winner. She's got an unbelievable record, but her trials, as mentioned, Lockie, she's been a little bit underwhelming, so I took a bit of a set against her off the back of that. She's still in my numbers. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but it's an opinions game. 11 Yonga Lass, good push from Grant Alana Williams in the previous Willie Pike rides. I've loved her trials leading into her return today, and as she's shown, she's a belter of a fresh horse, Yonga Lass. I feel she should have beaten home Twain's Angel in the Joey first up last campaign. She gets William Pike in the saddle, and the speed profile of this race, if they do really clap it on, it's going to suit her down to the ground from her likely settling position. She's a horse you'd rather draw out than in with, so I'm not concerned about the barrier. And if they are, well, now that they have shown they can make a little bit of ground with the win of Immortal Bliss in the previous. So I'll likely look at maybe having something on her late.
And the last horse we'll take a look at is the 12, Rissoles for Luke Fernie and Joy as a
I
party.
think she's going to be outclassed in this.
Let's have a look at this market. Magnificent Andy is your favourite. He has been incredibly well supported over the last 24 hours. He's $3.40 into $2.45. Twain's Angel $5.50 out to $6. Yongalas $6.50 out to $9.50. Snowdome $16 into $8, now into $5.50. An avalanche of money for him late. Final Siren $8 out to $12. Hanchy at $14, and Bravo Centurion is a $26 chance. Riley, what do you make of the market, and how do you order the 4?
1, 11, 10 and 5 for me here, Locke. I was happy to make Magnificent Andy one of the better bets on the program, the proven weight for age galloper, and at his best, I think that is the best in this field. He's got a lovely barrier to work with, and his 2 previous first up runs over the 1200 metres have been outstanding. I've loved his trials leading in without his race day blinkers. They really switch him on and sharpen him up, and I just love how this race sets up for him if he's forward enough to be winning. That is the question, but SJ Miller, never a problem with him getting his gallopers fit, particularly his stable stars. So the one on top for me, Magnificent Andy, having something to chop out on Yonga Lass. I think she's a ripper of a fresh horse. She should have beaten home Twain's Angel for mine first up in the Joey last campaign. She does have it against her from where she's likely to get to in running, but her trials have been outstanding, and she's got the wizard in the saddle as well. So Yonga Lass worth having something on at that each way quote. The 10, Twain's Angel, she's the map horse, in for third, and 5, Final Siren, in for fourth, with that race fitness if Lucy Fiore can find a spot for him just tucked away in behind the speed. But very exciting inaugural edition, Lock, of the Golden Saddle. Take a look at this place. It is rocking here at the KBRC. 1, 11, 10 and 5 as we build into the Cup with the running of the first edition of the Golden Saddle, but Magnificent Andy, the on-topper for me.
Absolutely. Magnificent Andy on top for Riley. What are we looking for in the first 50 to 100 metres? Brad Parnham aboard from barrier number 4. Where would you like to see him in the first 50?
I'd love to see him in the first 5 or 6 in running, Lock. Maybe 6, just 3 pairs, 1 off. 3 pairs back, 1 off the fence. That's ideally where I'd like to see him in running. But I wouldn't be too concerned if he's a pair further back and he is midfield with a bit of cover. I don't think that's a bad position for him. We know how versatile he is. He's won some quality races from over the speed. He's run well from off the speed as well. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a concern if he is a little bit further back than anticipated. But I think if Brad can just give him a dig out of the gates, he can land in that 5th or 6th region in running.
As we said earlier, the first 2 300 metres of this race and the Kalgoorlie Cup could prove imperative to the eventual winner of this race. But here it is, the first running of the developed Golden Saddle, worth $1 million. Here's Darren McCauley for the call.
So there's about 5 out of line now. We wait for Bravo Centurion to come forward, as well as Red Can Man, the Warhorse. Storm Chaser's rider has the black cap. And here's the favourite, Magnificent Andy, to be taken in by Brad Parnham. Older brother Steve aboard Snowdome, which has been back from $16 into $6. Big go for Snowdome, but Red Can Man now prepares to make its way there. Started going across to the ladder, and Snowdome's coming up with Yonga Lass. And then the other 2 Luke Fernie train runners, Bravo Centurion, Storm Chaser, to complete the line. So it's all on the line here. The first ever Golden Saddle. Snowdome is in. Backs out. Another attempt being made. The punters have really taken a shine to Snowdome. Trialled earlier this week in brilliant fashion. Now here comes Bravo Centurion. Storm Chaser's going to be the last of them. They're almost set here for the first ever running of this $1 million, the developed Golden Saddle. They're all in. Nearly right to go. Red lights flash. Stand by for a start. About to break. They're off. Hanchy missed the start. First to get going, Red Can Man. Turner pushing up. King Adviso quickly though. Snowdome was out of the gates in a hurry. Rissol's Final Siren lob behind those. Magnificent Andy getting back midfield. On his outside there, Bravo Centurion. Followed further back, Twain's Angel. Then Man Crush. Being followed by Hanchy, Yongalas, and back there last of all, Storm Chaser. They settle in the Golden Saddle. Down the side, King Adviso. The flashy Chestnut leads the way. The War Horse is up running second. Red Can Man. Snowdome posted. It's out three wide. Rissol's in the red colours. Next down on the inside of Final Siren. A little more than a length. Bravo Centurion. Parnham's at work on Magnificent Andy, picking his way through. Followed further back by Hanchy, Yongalas, Man Crush. Twain's Angel drop right out. Last of all, Storm Chaser. They head for home in the Golden Saddle. Red Can Man hit the front from King Adviso. Magnificent Andy, Snowdome there from Final Siren. Further back, Man Crush. But Magnificent Andy reaches the lead. 100 left to go. Magnificent Andy storms away. Yongalas comes late, but it's Magnificent Andy. Magnificent Andy with a magnificent win. Magnificent Andy won the first Golden Saddle from the fast finishing Yongalas, Man Crush. Then Twain's Angel from the clouds late. They were followed further back by Red Can Man. Then Hanchy, Final Siren, Snowdome dropping out. King Adviso likewise with Rissol's, and at the head of the other, Storm Chaser with Bravo Centurion amongst the last of them home in the developed Golden Saddle. The favourite wins it. The first running of the race, the Hannon's Handicap winner from 2023, has claimed the Golden Saddle. For local owner David Reid, of course, so synonymous with Signpost, the first horse ever to win the Goldfields Triple Crown way back in 1992. With Stephen Miller in the saddle, all these years on, Stephen Miller now prepares the winner of the first ever Golden Saddle. It's history repeating on a course of history. Brad Parnham aboard, beautiful ride by Brad. He knew he had the right horse, the best horse underneath him, and he wanted to get going and get into the race nice and early. He had him wound up at the 450, Red Can Man striking the lead. Back in the field, Yongalas was making really good headway with Twain's Angel, who had lost a spot before the corner, but the bird had flown, and Magnificent Andy has come away to beat the fast finishing Yongalas with Man Crush. A vastly improved run on top of the ground this afternoon, but this is a great result for David Reid, Bierman Racing Syndicate, the slot holder, S.J. Miller and Brad Parnham. The long neck was the winning margin, half a length second and third in 1:11.24. Yongalas second for Greenfield Lodge Yarradale Stud as the slot holder, trained by Grant, Alana Williams, Willie Pike for I. O'Connor, M. McCabe, Ms. T. Harvey, Mrs. G. Harvey, C.K. and T.R. Harvey by Universal Ruler from Give the Signal, and third number 3 Man Crush by Manhattan Rain, trained by Luke Fernie for Peter Fernie, Don Martin, Gill, Andrew Ingalls, Brett Turner, R. Maple, Gary Kempsey, King, B. Royal, J. Dowdle, D. Mapleson, M. Hilliard, Rodney Johns, M.G. Smith, Mick Butel, C. Gerrans, G. Young and P. Cox. And for the Bowden, also Top Handy and Lay Syndicate of Man Crush. Fourth in is number 10, Twain's Angel, Matty Derrick. And fifth home, number 6, Hanchy. 1:11, 3 and 10. And great celebrations down in the yard. S.J. Miller, who's had a strong connection with owner David Reid. Of course, Signpost, he lifted to that memorable victory in the Cal Cup to complete the Triple Crown 1992. And here he is today as a trainer all of these years on, again for David Reid, in the same colours as Signpost. And this time, it's the first ever Golden Saddle. The next event, the Swan Draft Kalgoorlie Gold Cup. The great racing continues, 2,300 metres. They're all running. They'll go at 4:45. In the meantime, let's go back to Lockie Taylor down in the yard with some very excited connections, all involved in the first ever winner of the Golden Saddle. Lock.
Thanks, Darren. Absolutely. S.J. Miller and Brad Parnham embrace after the inaugural running of the Develop Golden Saddle, and SJ joins me now. S, congratulations on the win. Magnificent Andy, it's been a long-term plan. When did your confidence begin to grow? Has the preparation gone exactly to plan, the plan that yourself and David Reid set out 3 or 4 months ago?
Yeah, Lockie, it's been just unbelievable I don't do any work on the horse. My partner Lisa does all the work. She loves him to bits. She's done everything with him. I jumped on him on Tuesday and sort of got off him and sort of congratulated her the way she had him. He was just spot on.
He's a remarkable horse. He's been so versatile, 1,200, 14, 1,600 metres. He just knows what race day is and he knows when to produce his best.
He does, and I think it's a fair bit to do with Lisa. She looks after him all the time, and he's one of them unique little horses that just keeps on coming back. He's been defeated by a lot of good horses, and he deserves a win like this today.
You know what it takes as a jockey and as a trainer, but as a jockey to win a big race here at Kalgoorlie. What were your thoughts as Brad Parnham weaved his way towards that outside rail?
Oh, look, I was glad he did. He was in a tricky spot. He never commenced really good. He was too fresh going into it. And when he sort of got left to half a length, I thought, I buggered this up. But Brad just rode him superb, and he knows the horse, and he's got that much confidence in him. And he knew we set him for this, and he knew it'd be hard at the end. So. It was about time I beat Puffer.
And an incredible feeling, I'm sure, to do it once again with David Reid, someone who knows this area oh so well.
Oh yeah, look, me and David go back before Signpost, and he's been a good supporter of mine over the years, and I rode a lot of winners for him, and it's the best horse he's had, and it'll be the best horse I've had.
An outstanding training performance. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, Lucky.
There's SJ Miller. Here's Brad Parnham.
Thanks, Locke. I sense I'm catching up with a very relieved Brad Parnham after the win there of Magnificent Andy to take out the inaugural edition of the Golden Saddle. Brad, how do you describe that feeling to win a race like that for a good mate and a great supporter of yours in SJ Miller, and I guess with the affinity you've developed with this horse as well?
It's quite a special win, to be honest with you. SJ and we've been a good team for so long, and this horse has been really good. I might just take this off now, I'm a bit hot. This horse has been really good to us both. He gives his all every single time, and I probably felt a bit of pressure to win on him today because he came in the favourite, and he's run a lot of good races in the winter, and even in the Quokka he ran a super race, and he hasn't quite been able to get the job done for a while now, so it is a bit of a relief to win on him, really, but he's a well-deserving winner. He always gives, like I say, he gives 100%, and just proud of the horse.
Tell us a bit about how that race unfolded for you, because he was half a step slow out of the barriers, and it did look as though you had to really work him to hold that position in running, and also do a bit of work to get Bravo Centurion out of your way to get into that 3-wide line. But once he was able to get clear, his class really came to the fore.
Yeah, that's right. He never really does jump all that clean, to be honest with you. He just can get a little bit anxious in the barriers for some reason. Some days he's better than others, but even at his best, he never really flies the gates. So I was always prepared for him to step the way he did, and I was never going to hold any closer than I did, but I was actually pretty happy to be 3 back, and just wanted to make sure I held that one offline, because I thought, I always had in my mind if I could get onto the back of Snowdome at some point, I'd find my way into the clear, and that sort of happened down the side there. And once he got clear air, he started trucking up really strong and definitely felt the winner. I might have gone a touch early on him, but because he was starting to feel the pinch late, but I just wanted to make sure he had a good break on him, and it was going to be hard for them to run him down. And he proved too strong.
Does he surprise you with how he continues to keep coming back in each preparation and continuing to even get better?
I would say, going back 12 months ago, he probably surprised me with his progression. But since then, he's just been so tough. He's run great race in railways, and the Gold Rush he ran second, and even the Quokka. So he's proven that he is that top level, and I think that's just because he tries so hard. So he probably did surprise me once we won the Hannons here a couple of years ago that he would get to this level. But now that he's here, I'm pretty happy with the way he is, and I think he'll probably be here for another year or two.
Become a bit of a cult figure in WA racing. I'll let you go enjoy the win, Brad. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
There's Brad Parnham, history repeating on a course of history in the words of Darren McCauley. SJ Miller, he does it once again, this time with Magnificent Annie. But here is the running of the Toyota Mora Cup over 1,800 metres, the feature of the day. El Giro del Mundo, your favourite, $3.50 into $2.50. Lutz is $3.50 out to $4.60. But El Giro del Mundo certainly looks the one to beat as we hand it to Alex Vlahos for the call.